Hi, welcome to ADRA Update. We're glad that you've joined us again this month, and we're going to just share a little bit of where ADRA has been out and about and what's coming into your mailboxes if it hasn't already. Stay with us, and we're going to take you through another ADRA Update. Today on ADRA Update, we have a very honored guest with us. We have our Chief Executive Officer, Steve Matthews. Welcome, Steve.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Steve has just come back from the field, being gone for 2 weeks in Indonesia with our board chair, Paul Llewellyn. So Steve, tell us, what was this journey like?
Yeah, so we had time. So it was Indonesia and Cambodia.
Ah, yes.
It was busy.
Mm-hmm.
We really kept busy. At times I was thinking, I hope we don't kill our board chair here, because he was getting pretty tired along the way, which was understandable. It was the first time he'd been on an ADRA trip, which was great because it really got him an opportunity to see the work that we do.
Nice.
One of the comments that he made a couple of times, he's like, I just can't believe how hard ADRA workers work.
Wow, really?
He was really impressed with the level of effort that our team puts in, just the professionalism that we have on the ground, and it was just a great experience for him to be able to be there. While we were there, we visited two very different projects.
Okay.
One in Indonesia was a project that we took from an emergency response and has actually transitioned over to one of the things we talk about quite a bit in the NGO world and the sector that we work in is this nexus between emergency and development. And this project that we have is a great example of that, where we responded to an earthquake and tsunami, and now what we're doing is helping people build their lives back and to be in a better situation now than what they were before.
Very good.
Yeah.
So he saw kind of the development aspect of that beyond the emergency response.
Exactly. So we were able to talk about what happened during the emergency, and there were some areas. One that was really challenging to see was as we were in Palu, was the area that we were in, Palu, Indonesia. And so we're standing up on this hill, and you could look down over the entire city, and there was like a really weird looking, just seemed really out of place green patch in the middle of the city. And they were explaining to us that that's where liquefaction happened during the earthquake.
Right.
So essentially what happened, they said, is the groundwater table worked its way up through the soil, and all the buildings and people sunk into the ground. So they said that in that location there were over 1,000 people that were essentially buried alive, and were never recovered. It was just too difficult to even try to recover them. So this is what happened there. So now you have this green area. It's considered a red zone now. So basically they'll never be allowed to build there again.
I think I saw you post something on Facebook.
Yes.
That it had sunk down and half of the building was just completely gone. It was under the ground.
Exactly, and depending on the areas, how severe it was, there were areas where you could actually see still half the building was above. Other areas, the building was completely gone. So they completely were buried. So it was challenging to see that, to just imagine what those people would have went through at that time. We were able to visit the memorial that they've built since, which had the names of all the people that were missing and presumed dead that were there as well. But then I always like to focus on what was the positive things of the project. And while we were there, there were multiple disasters that happened all really close together. Then they had some severe flooding, and because of the earthquake, the irrigation systems were damaged. And then the flooding came and destroyed the fields, the rice fields. Rice is a really big thing there.
Oh, yes.
So what we've done is we've been working with people to teach them how to repurpose some of their fields for the new conditions. Cacao was one of the items. So, cocoa, chocolate. We got to try some chocolate that's made by the group of farmers there that we've been working with.
Was it good?
It
was it sweet?
It was really good. it was 80%, so which is typically a really dark chocolate.
It is.
But it didn't have that bitter taste that I find you get with some of the dark chocolate. So it was really good.
Nice.
We got to try ginger. There was a lady that during COVID, her business really took off. It boomed because of everybody being more health conscious.
Yeah.
Her ginger drinks that she was making just really started to do very well, and she was able to sustain through that period of time. And then some we taught how to grow like corn, maize as well. So just a number of different technologies. But because of the techniques we've been sharing with ADRA, one of the ladies was saying that for 7 kilograms of seed, they used to get about 1.5 tons of corn or maize produced out of that 7 kilograms.
Yeah.
Now, because of the techniques we've taught them through ADRA, now they get about 3 tons off the same amount of land and the same amount of seed. So they've essentially doubled their productivity.
That's right.
So now they're much more financially stable there. So that was Indonesia. It was quite a visit.
Wow. And then you also said Cambodia.
Yeah, exactly.
And what was just one highlight that you really kind of anchors in your mind connected to Cambodia?
So Cambodia, we visited the Together Project.
Yes.
And as you're aware, the Together Project is the largest project we've ever had through ADRA Canada.
Yes.
It's a 4-country project, Cambodia being one of them. It's an interesting project because it's a 6-year project where you're essentially trying to change behaviors and mindsets.
Yes.
The area that we're working, a couple of things that are real challenges are gender-based violence, which we call GBV, which is quite common. Like that's the way to do things.
Yeah.
The other is early child marriages. While we were there, we visited some men's groups and women's groups that were meeting on how to improve things for our young people, for babies. There was a real focus on babies and having them be better nourished during those first 6 months, teaching why it's important to have breastfeeding. But then on the gender-based violence side of things, we went to a play one night.
Oh, you did?
And the play, it was done by the community, but it's something that it was an ADRA initiative.
Yes.
There were so many people, like a lot of people from the community came out.
Wow.
But one of the songs that they did was, I didn't understand it. It was in Khmer, the local language. But they told me that basically what it was is how to be a better husband.
Really?
And yeah, so it was neat to see, and it was young people that were there doing this. So a young man was there, and they had the young ladies. But the whole purpose was teaching how to be a better husband. And
that represents internalization, right? When you see them expressing that in their cultural and lifestyle interests, then that starts to translate into internalization, especially with young people. That's good.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it was nice to see that and see that we're trying to really make a difference. I did ask one of the groups, it's a community-led monitoring, evaluation, and learning group. So working with the local officials, and asked have they seen much of a change. And it is the first year of the project, but they did say they've already started to see change and reduction of gender-based violence.
Excellent.
And also a reduction in how early the girls are when they get married.
Yes.
So it's nice to see that as well, that they're starting to be conscious. There's still lots of work to be done for sure.
Sure.
But definitely seeing some improvements there. So I look forward to seeing the differences that this project's going to make over the next 4 more years of the Together project as we wrap that up.
Wonderful, wonderful. Praise God. By baby steps, right? Baby steps. And small steps make change for big steps. So real quick, do you have just a funny highlight from the trip at all? Something that was kind of out of the wheelworks?
Yeah, there were lots. I mean, being able to travel with our board chair, Paul, was quite funny. He has, I mean, you know him quite well. He has just a wonderful sense of humor.
He does.
And he really interacted well with the people while we were there. The way that we traveled was by Kowloon, but Paul has quite a bad back. But he was just such a trooper as we were going through everything. But as we were going, I said, well, why don't you just lie down and relax? So as he was laying there, I said, all we need now is just somebody to have a feather fan over you, and it would be great. So we had some good laughs along the way.
That's
and,
good. Well, it sounds like you had an amazing time, and I thank you so much for joining us today and for just giving a little bit of an experience from Indonesia and Cambodia.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's been great to share.
Good.
Yeah.
Speaking with Steve reminds me to please not forget that October 10 is our official launch of our 40 years. And we're doing an entire celebration. So we begin on October 10 date, and you'll be receiving into your inbox an email that gives for you a reflection for that week. It gives you a bulletin announcement that could go in your church, a 3 to 5 minute featured video that could go right in between Sabbath school and church for that Sabbath. Also a part of that, we're going to be rolling out 40 countries that we're going to be praying for where ADRA is active for 40 days, and various 40 ideas of how you can be active in your community. And so don't forget October 10, and we're going to culminate on that November 15 date with our ADRA soiree celebrating 40 years of justice, compassion, and love. There's been an invite list sent out, but you can also watch us live. Thank you so much for activating on October 10, 40 years of service with ADRA. Our second guest for this ADRA update is Avish Raj, and he is our Associate Development Program Director, and he's actually joining us from Chiang Mai, Thailand. Welcome, Avish, to the program.
It's an honor to join you, Teresa, today on this ADRA update as we discuss issues on global food security that demands our immediate attention.
So before we jump into food security, I want to know, who is Avish? Like, what brought you to ADRA Canada, ADRA in general? Like, talk to us a little bit about that context.
All right. I'm a passionate advocate for humanitarian action and sustainable development. I'm a proud husband to John Teacher and a loving father to 3 incredible daughters, Alvina, Alona, and Ashiana. My family and I call these vibrant suburbs of Chiang Mai City, Thailand, our home. With over a decade of ADRA experience, I've had the privilege of working with ADRA Thailand, ADRA Papua New Guinea, and now with ADRA Canada as Associate Director for Programs, as you already mentioned. During these years, I have taken on diverse roles, from frontline of humanitarian response as a field assistant to senior management positions. I've also had privilege of mentoring and supervising project managers, developing proposals, monitoring and evaluation systems, and crafting strategies, coordinating strategies, from food security field monitoring experiences. It's just not limited to just one particular corner of the world, but I've been to some of the most challenging and fragile contexts like Somalia, Yemen, Ukraine, Burundi, and DR Congo, to name a few.
Wow, Avish, you come with a wealth of knowledge and experience that you bring to the table with ADRA Canada. Thank you so much. So let's focus for just a moment on specifically food security, because that's the lens for your portfolio connected to ADRA Canada right now, correct?
That's true.
So tell us then, so what does the need around the world look like, and what exactly is food security?
Sure. At the heart of ADRA Canada's food security program lies a powerful goal, that is to ensure that individuals, households, and communities in regions where our country offices and local partners operate are food secure. But really, what does this food security truly means to us? That's the biggest question. So food security is more than just having enough to eat. It's about having physical, social, and economic access to safe, nutritious food in sufficient quantity and quality. It means having the support of sanitation, health services, and care for a healthy and active life. In this food security program that we operate, we place people, planet, and peace at the center of everything we do. We are not just addressing food security, but also promoting well-being of people and our planet while fostering peace in communities and fragile contexts like DR Congo, Yemen, Somalia, and Ukraine. Those are a few examples that I can think of.
Wow, Avish, so much broader than I think people even realize is the entire sector of food security and how deep it goes, right? And I love how you summarize just people, planet, and you're looking for wellness, peace connected to people as a whole.
This world that we're living has witnessed remarkable progress in so many areas. However, one stark reality refuses to yield, that is, battle against hunger. The global progress against hunger has stalled, and in many places it has actually worsened. As of 2021, an alarming 828 million people go to bed hungry without regular access to sufficient calories.
Yes. I remember learning that 828 million number. Like, it's just unfathomable that people don't have access to a very basic human need. So I think the next big question for me, Avish, is what is ADRA Canada doing about this? What are some projects that we have that are just boots on the ground, and how are we attempting to make any kind of a difference?
Literally, we stand at a critical juncture where the world's most vulnerable populations are bearing the brunt of this overlapping crisis, as we discussed. To combat these things, our current food security programs are in Venezuela, Kenya, Yemen, Haiti, Somalia, and Ukraine. And these countries actually are part of one of the most vulnerable and fragile states. And we also have agriculture and livelihood projects in Kenya, Nepal, Mozambique, Sudan, Indonesia, and Venezuela. And we're also starting a new project focusing on food security, but from a climate change angle, through the adoption of nature-based solutions in Kenya and Mozambique. So these are few projects that we are implementing in these different countries as of now.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, Avish. It just helps us see a broader perspective when it comes to not only food security, the great hunger crisis that is facing our world, and then how ADRA Canada is responding. Do you have an in particular highlight that you would like to share with us?
Well, I truly believe the time for action is now. And as we navigate these turbulent waters, let us remember that combating hunger is not just a moral imperative. It's a global responsibility. Together, we can create a future where hunger is a relic of the past, and every individual enjoys basic human rights to nourishment, so all may live as God intended.
Amen. That's right. That's the ultimate goal, right, Avish? Thank you so very much for joining us today.
It's my pleasure, Teresa, and God bless.
Thank you. Same to you. And I want to turn to our supporters and our donors and our partners. Last year, we activated our Justice at the Table campaign, addressing 13 countries where hunger crisis is as never experienced before. Having said that, this year, maybe possibly in your mailboxes right now, or maybe you already received it last week, it is our food security campaign. I ask you, I plead with you, please give that others may live. This Thanksgiving, think of those who do not have. Thank you so much, and thank you, Avish.
Thank you, Teresa.
It was so good having you with us for this ADRA update as we journeyed with our CEO, Steve Matthews, and our Associate Development Program Director, Avish Raj. And as we learned just a little bit more about where ADRA is and what we're doing. You can like us on any of our social media platforms. You can watch videos on adratv.com as well as YouTube and Vimeo. And I believe we're back on Roku and Smart TV, yes?
Yes.
Wonderful. So please, we'll see you next month, and blessings to all.